Indeed. So we will get started. We're going to start on our backs today. We're going to have a pretty slowish, chill practice for the new year. So let's get started on our backs in Shavasana. Just taking a few deep breaths here. You can even let a sigh out through the mouth a few times. And as the sighing returns toward normal breath, really just allow yourself to sink in. Fully give in to the passive nature of Shavasana. Let the body feel gravity pulling you into the earth. Become aware of how it feels to let go of the body as it gives in. Are there points that talk a little bit longer than others? And sensation just kind of hangs out a little bit. In this practice, we're going to explore the space between being passive and completely letting go to becoming active, making all the muscles move the body in the way that we want it to, and exploring the sensation between both of those opposites. So here in Shavasana, we just start with the passive, with the letting go, the giving into gravity, into the density of the body. As we start to explore the space between being passive and active, a lot of our movements are going to start really slow, just kind of exploring how much range of motion we have. And then it'll slowly get more intense, pushing yourself to experience what stretch the body can do actively, what muscles become engaged, how the body, the mind respond to that engagement. Take another deep breath towards the stomach. And exhale fully and completely. With your next big exhalation, you can start to wiggle the toes, the fingers, the wrists and ankles. Start to feel the body waking up, bringing tension in, almost as it feels like the heels, the shoulders, the wrists, the hips are kind of pressing downwards as you move the body. And then a big stretch, reach up overhead, like waking up for the first time today. Stretching right side body and left side body, just starting to explore the movement a little bit. Just back and forth, not pressing into it. Feeling the wrist and ankle reach away from each other, and then switching it over to the other side. Back and forth. And as you start to explore that movement, start pushing it just a little bit more. Start to reach higher up and further down. Maybe even shifting kind of side to side on your mat a little bit, as the body kind of arches along the side body. After you even things out, come back to center and keep the arms up overhead. Just kind of relax everything. Feel that residual sensation along the sides of the body. And then as big as possible along the right side, reach the right hand away, reach the right foot away. Maybe arch the body a little bit more, press as much as it's possibly comfortable for you to reach along that right side body, getting a deep stretch. And relax. And over to the other side, reach the left hand away, reach the left foot away, arch the side body some. And relax. Back to center. You can bring the hands back by the side of the body. Back to that passive corpse pose. And then we're going to bring both knees towards the chest. Just gently, just hands on the shins, around the knees, just holding them so they don't flop back to the ground. Notice if the legs are really trying to pull away from the chest, or if it's just really easy to let them sink into the chest. And then using the arms, start to pull the knees as close in as you possibly can, feeling maybe even the low back kind of lift off the ground some, and then set it back into that neutral position. Just back and forth there. pull the knees in, nice and active through the arms, and then relax back down. Notice how the core becomes engaged. Any stretch that you might get, activation in the shoulders and the arms. And then we'll start to make circles with the knees in space, and rolling them a little bit over to one side, keeping the hands on the knees or the shins. Getting a little bit of a low back massage here as we rock side to side slightly. Notice how the breath moves with the posture. And then the other direction for circles with the knees. And back to center. And release the hands straight out to either side. We'll open up at the hip a little bit. Bring the knee to 90, the hip to 90. And just first feeling the legs kind of hovering in space with the arms out. Notice how the body stabilizes. And then as slowly as you can, drop the knees towards the right side. Once the knees come to the ground, fully relax the body for a moment. And then find engagement through the core to bring the knees back to center. And then over to the other side. Again, relaxing when the knees land on the ground. Bring them back through center with activation and over to the opposite side with slowness and intention. Observe the sensations along the way as the knees switch side to side. You can start to see that as we become as passive as possible through the movement, that the activity becomes really loud. The core, we can feel working a lot. As we continue shifting from side to side, hold some of that tension in the body, even as the knees drop to the side. So that full relax now, and just back and forth. One more time on each side. And then coming back to center, we're going to find a nice lazy, happy baby. So that might just be keeping the knees pretty bent, hands around the thighs as they hug towards the chest a little bit, the knees splaying out to the side. You might even have hands over the shins, the knees falling out, drawing it in. And then from here, I want you to roll into a fetal position on the right side. You can place the arm under the head. Let the body become comfortable. Feel the massage of the breath as the right side presses into the ground. Let the breath deepen here. Let that become the active portion of this posture. And then gently press yourself up into a seated position, maybe on a cushion, preparing for some breathing exercises. And coming into the seat, find that the spine is the active, lifting you upright, while the rest of the body becomes passive. And in this way, the active parts of the body feel like they're floating, they're weightless, and the passive parts feel like they're giving in to gravity, weightful. We can scan from the body, from the top of the skull, relaxing through the face and jaw, the tongue, the throat, shoulders, down the arms to the fingertips, through the outside of the torso, even allowing the organs to relax, the hips, the legs, all the way to the toes. We'll begin by chanting Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Inhale to energize the body. Send the arms up and out to the side. Lift the chin. Begin to make movements in the wrists, rolling them out. Flexing and pointing the hands. Reach through the fingertips, very active through the fingers, through the chin. Try to lift the chest upwards. Exhale, everything comes back to center. Hands come into center. You can rest the hands on the lap as we prepare for abdominal breath. Exhaling completely, feel the belly button compress towards the spine. Inhale, fill the stomach like a balloon. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, as active as possible. Pull the air in towards the stomach. Exhale, as passive as possible. Just let the stomach relax. Feel the air flow out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. We'll now extend our exhalation. Exhale, just let the air flow out. And then press the air out. Squeeze the belly button towards the spine. Inhale. Exhale. First relax. And then squeeze the air out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Full yogic breath. Bring as much air into the stomach. Keep the air there. Spread it into the chest. All the way to the shoulders. And just let the body relax down the shoulders, the chest, and the stomach. Inhale, stomach, chest, shoulders. Exhale, shoulders, chest, and stomach. Inhale, stomach, chest, shoulders. Exhale, shoulders, chest, stomach. Inhale, chest, shoulders, slowing down the relaxation a little bit. Shoulders, chest, stomach, and squeeze the air out. Inhale, shoulders, exhale, shoulders, chest, stomach, and squeeze. Inhale, stomach, chest, shoulders. Exhale, shoulders, chest, stomach, and squeeze. Take a full yogic breath all the way to the shoulders. Preparing for Kapalbhati. We'll exhale completely, preparing that pump in the stomach. We'll inhale to about 50-60% and begin. Exhale, completely press all the air out. Just retain for a moment at the bottom of the exhalation. Inhale, energize, pull 100%, 20% of air into your lungs all the way to the fingertips. Expand as much as possible. Retain at the top, making movements for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, press all the air out of the body. Inhale comfortably, 50, 60%. Bring the hands to Chin Mudra and retain. Rest in the stillness. Find as much passive energy behind the retention. Let yourself give into gravity while you keep that activity in the lungs, that hold. Exhale slowly and completely. Let the air release from the body. Full yogic breath, as much air all the way to the shoulders as possible. Exhale all the way down. Inhale comfortably, 50, 60%. And begin. Exhale completely and fully press the air out of the system. Hold at the bottom of their tension for just a moment. Inhale, energize, pull 120% of that air into the system all the way to the fingertips, through the chin. Retain, make movements. Exhale fully. Inhale comfortably. Suspend the breath and the retention. Relax the body. Observe the awareness shifting towards the point between the eyebrows. Just letting the body relax with the exhalation. Take a full yogic breath all the way to the shoulders. Let go of all the air. Allow the breathing to return to normal for a moment and observe the effects of breathing exercises. Bring gentle awareness to the neck. Just start to gently drop the chin towards the chest and lift the chin up towards the sky. It's nice and easy. We're not pressing into anything yet. Just explore the movement. And slowly start to find a bit more activation in the neck, almost pulling the chin towards the chest and lifting the chin up towards the sky. And as we more intentionally start to explore range of motion, if there's a point of the motion that feels uncomfortable, you know that that's the edge of the movement and the place to stop. Bring the head back to center and drop one ear towards the shoulder and then bring it over to the other side. Again, just starting nice and lazy here. Just feel the weight of the head kind of give itself to the shoulder. Notice that passive stretch that happens. And then start to find a bit more activity with it. Lift the ear, the right ear up, the opposite ear up as the other one presses down, getting a bit more of a stretch. You can even involve the shoulder a little bit, kind of pressing the opposite shoulder away. Exploring how much of a stretch you want through the neck here. Evening things out, come back to center. And then looking over the right shoulder and over the left. Gently twisting. And then slowly starting to put some of that activation in. Pressing the chin and the ear backwards. You can even press opposite shoulder back a little bit to kind of pull along that front neckline some more. And then back to center, chin to chest. The head will work as a metronome here as we inhale up the right side, lazily lifting the chin up, and then exhale down the left. And then coming back the other direction, so inhaling up the left and exhaling down the right. Each pass can get just a touch more active as you reach the chin further away, trying to draw a bigger circle with the chin, but staying within a range that's comfortable for you. Notice those sticky points through the neck or the shoulders. We'll even things out, bring the neck back up the left side and down the right. Come back to center, come back to stillness for a moment. Just observe how the neck feels. Let it soften. And then we'll bring awareness to the shoulders. They just gently start to make some small circles together in one direction. Letting the shoulders spiral out as the movement becomes more active. Even moving all the way down the arms into the hands as hands might shift along the thighs, but all in response to making the shoulders more active. And then we'll spiral back into stillness a little bit more quickly than we spiraled to activity, and then start to move the opposite direction. Starting nice and slow, nice and easy, and building it up as we go. And back into that stillness. And then one shoulder follows the other. Starting to feel this work its way into the thoracic spine a little bit as we twist the body. As one shoulder drops back, the opposite kind of draws forward. The hands now much more involved in this movement as they kind of float back some. The gaze almost goes back towards that back shoulder. And then we'll start to go the opposite direction. And slowly back to stillness. Back to your seat, back to center. And then we can finally release from our seats and the legs out in front. Just lean back onto the hands and let the chest open a little bit, the chin lift slightly. Just begin to move the toes some. Try to keep the ankle relaxed while the toes move here. Just flexing and spreading them apart. And then travel to the ankles as they point and flex. Notice the other parts of the body that get involved as we make bigger movements. Seems to not matter how many years I sit in a cross-legged position, my leg still falls asleep every time. And then we'll start to rotate the ankles together in one direction or doing opposite, whatever feels appropriate for you. And then the other way. And then big bounce of the knees. Okay, bring the feet flat, fingers facing away from each other. Nice and easy, just from this position with the hips on the ground to lifting on the inhalation into that reverse tabletop. Keep it gentle to start, back and forth with the breath. Inhaling as you lift. For the active portion, feeling the back body start to engage a little bit, and then exhale as the hips come down and everything softens. Back and forth here. Start to explore the movement a little bit. How open can you get the hips, the shoulders? How engaged do you feel against the ground? How do the feet and hands interact? How do the shoulders feel? And at our most active, we really start to feel the glutes squeeze, lifting up at the top, almost hovering for a moment before dropping back down. And next time we're going to lift up and we're going to hold the position, squeeze the glutes, open up through the chest, lift the hips up high. Feel the back engaged, the back body engaged. And then exhale, nice slow release back down. We're going to send the legs out in front again. And turn the fingers towards the back of the mat. We're just going to make some gentle pulses here, trying to reach the chest forward. The chin kind of forward, just kind of back and forth. Make it feel a little bit weird. And just explore the movement, kind of adding an extra 5 to 10 degrees on if you have the room each time you pulse down. And then play with pointing the toes. See how that changes things. Where does the stretch arise for you? The activation arise? And then play with flexing the feet. Pull the toes towards the chin as you go down and notice how that changes things. And then we're gonna, with the toes pulling towards the chin, we're gonna reach forward and try to pull the chest towards the toes, almost lifting up first and then forward. Good. And then start to see how low you can go. Really active here this time. Pulling and pressing the chest at the same time to reach it towards the toes. And then slowly down. And then we'll release back up. Plant the hands for our inclined plane. Heels are on the ground, toes point. Nice and active through the back body. Lift up. And exhale, hips down, forward fold. Lifting up on the inhale. And folding forward on the exhale. Next time we lift up, we hang out in that inclined plane. Feel the heels kind of pressing into the ground a little bit. Point the toes, reach them forward. Press the hands in, open the chest, squeeze the glutes, lift the hips a little bit higher. And then fold forward as you exhale, let it all relax. Then we'll come up to a seat, up to a tabletop position. And just finding neutral here, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Let the body relax. Feel the low back and the pelvis relax.
Sometimes they have a tendency to hold a little bit of an arch, hold some tension when we get into this tabletop position. And we just want to find nice neutral here first. The neck relax, the shoulders. Some gentle cat-cows, not pressing into the movement, just dropping the stomach, lifting the chin, and rounding the spine. Using the breath a little bit as you inhale for that cow and exhale for cat. But almost trying to find really very little or no activation in the muscles yet. Just moving the body, manipulating the skeleton in place. Then we start to find more activity between these movements. As you come into cow, we kind of press the stomach towards the ground and lift the chin forward. As we come into cat, we lift the solar plexus up through the back and pull the chin towards the chest. We can also involve the tailbone in our cow pose, pulling the tailbone towards the back of the head. In our cat, we pull the pelvis towards the chin. Notice how the hands can also support this. As you come into your cow, almost try to pull the hands and knees together as you press the stomach down and lift the chin up, the tailbone up. As you come into cat, they almost press away from each other, and you pull all of that energy back towards the solar plexus. Back and forth. Feel that activation through the hands, the shoulders, the spine, the front and back of the body. Next time you're in cow, hang out in that position. Nice and active here. Squeeze the hands and knees towards each other. Press the middle of the torso towards the ground. Pull the tailbone towards the back of the head. Lift the chin upwards. Feel the back body engaged here. And then release the back body. Round the spine into your cat. Press hands and knees away from each other even though they don't move. Pull it back towards the solar plexus. Open up through the shoulders. Pull the chin to the chest. Pull the pelvis towards the chin. And relax. Back to that neutral. Let go of all that energy. Maybe move the wrists a little bit if you need to. And then for some side to side, bring the hip and shoulder towards each other, almost to the same degree. The ear would come towards the shoulder. And just starting with warming up the side body, exploring movement. Then we start to find some more activity. We try to crunch along one side of the body, expand the opposite. So it's almost like shoulder, hip, and ear all pulling towards some imaginary point on one side. And the opposite side is pressing away from that point, reaching that ear, shoulder, and opposite hip in the opposite direction. And we get activation on both sides of the body, contraction and expansion, as we move through these lateral movements in the spine. Take one more time, side to side. And back to center. Walk the knees back just slightly, drop into a child's pose. Let the hips settle in. It can be a nice and slow drop down. Maybe hands walk back a little bit. Forehead resting on the ground, or maybe even a pillow that you make with the hands. Back into that full relaxation. There's no need to press. Find that heaviness. And then start to activate the hands. Keep the hips back towards the heels, but reach the hands as far away as you can. Feel the opening of the shoulders. Keep trying to reach them just a millimeter further forward as you open up here. And grabbing a hold of the ground with the hands, we'll come through a tabletop position and just start to slowly drop the hips, maybe even a little bit down as the chin starts to lift, and then back to that child's pose. We're going to keep the movements nice and comfortable, nice and safe here to start as we explore getting closer and closer to that high cobra, letting the hips drop just an inch more each time, lifting the chin an inch higher each time. Attaching breath to this movement, we inhale forward as we open up the chest, and we exhale back into that child's pose. Right now, we're starting to find some of the further extent of that passive cobra, just letting the hips drop down, the chest and chin reach up. We start to make it a little bit more active now, really grabbing with the ground, pull the chest forward, pull the chin upwards, almost press the hips towards the ground a little bit as well. And then all of that relax on the child's pose. One more time. Back to child's. Maybe a little rocking in the low back first. Bring the hips kind of side to side some. Full release back to center. And then back to your tabletop position. Finding some of our knees, chest, chin push-ups. I want you to spread the fingers nice and wide. Come into your cow pose, and this is going to be where we'll stay the whole time. We want this to be relatively active. Press the solar plexus down, lift the pelvis up, pull the chin forward and up. And then as we exhale, the chin drops down. It doesn't have to come to contact with the ground. And then we press back up with the inhalation. Okay, so exhale, lower down, elbows splay out. Inhale to lift up. We're going to do 8 of these in total. Feel all of that activity in this movement. Feel the back still kind of engaged, getting a little bit of a warm up here as we essentially stay in that cow pose the whole time. I think I have 2 more. And then back to your neutral. You can drop back to child's pose. If you want to just hang out in tabletop, you can. Ooh. And then we're going to start to make bigger movements, getting ourselves to the warmer part of the practice. So from our child's pose, we're going to tuck the toes, and we'll keep them tucked through these movements. So we're starting to warm the feet up a little bit, and it might feel like a loud stretch at the moment through the feet. And then we're going to come through our tabletop on an inhalation, press back to downward dog on an exhalation. We inhale to tabletop, exhale to that toes tucked child's pose. Inhaling forward and exhaling back. We're feeling that press on both sides. The tabletop becomes our release here with the inhalation, and the active becomes the downward dog and the toes tucked child's pose. And explore that range, explore how far you can reach in the edge there of both of those movements. Waking up the hamstrings, waking up the base of the feet, the toes, the heel, the ankles. Next time you come into your downward dog, let's settle in. Let yourself find some ease. Maybe pedal out the dog a little bit, releasing one heel and then the other to start. And then find as passive of a downward dog as you can. Maybe that means you have a nice bend in the knees. Maybe the knees can straighten. Maybe it means the chest is almost forward a little bit, so there's a bigger bend between, and the shoulders between the wrists and the hips. Maybe everything is starting to straighten out, and you're letting the heels really drop towards the ground. And maybe that's your passive of a downward dog, letting the chest drop as well. But just explore, where can you really rest? If I told you to hold this posture for 5 minutes, where would it be? Probably a lot more shallow than it would be in your full extent. And then from that point, I want you to soften and open up. Soften through the back of the legs, open through the upper body. And then in a similar fashion, we're going to begin shifting in and out of this posture. We'll inhale to a plank, almost trying to reach the top of the head as far forward as possible, coming on towards the big toes, and then pressing back to that downward dog. And maybe we need to adjust the point where the feet are at. Just a nice shift forwards into that plank and back into that downward dog. Feel the shoulders working here. Feel the hands supporting the body. Feel the feet just kind of floating back and forth. And as you come forward into that plank, start to activate the pelvis. Pull the pelvis forward as well. So we're really feeling that core fire up at the front of that plank. And then we release. Two more of these. On our second plank, we're going to hover there for a moment. Breathing deeply. Feel the hands press in. Feel micro bend in the elbows. Feel the top of the head reaching forward. Feel the toes coming onto the very tip of the big toes. Pull the pelvis towards the chin. Breathe for 3, 2, 1, and relax. Drop the knees. You can drop back, roll the wrists out a little bit. And we're going to come into a low lunge, right foot forward. So starting nice and passive, it might be fingertips on the ground, you might have palms on the ground. Just gently reach the chin forward. We're not pressing it upwards yet. Let the hips soften. Maybe even taking a little bit of gentle movement in the hips from side to side. Just some micro forwards and backwards. Maybe almost like rolling the shoulders out some to let them soften into the position. All these movements are intended to let you relax deeper into this low lunge. You should really feel that the active portions of this posture are primarily going to be through the upper body, helping you lift up, starting to draw the chest forward, and then the chin lifts towards the sky. And then start to press the hips towards the front heel. It's not a lot of movement there, but it becomes a bit more active as you're opening up the hips. Feel all that activity, chest reaching forward, chin reaching up, hips pressing down. And then relax all of it, become passive here. As little movement as possible, back to passive. Let go of the press of the chest, the lift of the chin, the press of the hips. And then slowly we're going to move back and forth between half split. And it might be a nice shallow half split to start. You might just kind of walk the hands back a little bit, maybe not even straighten the leg all the way. And then walk the hands back forward into that low lunge. Just exploring movement here again. Notice where the stretch comes in the body. Maybe it's the hips. Maybe it's the hamstrings, the calf. Maybe it's somewhere different entirely. You can also play with pointing or flexing the foot. Both have their own sort of purpose. And start to make both ends of the spectrum of these postures more and more active. Try to press yourself into that low lunge, lifting upwards through the upper body, and then press back into that halfway split as well. Find as much activity between the two postures, or at the end points of the two postures as you can. Pressing the hips back, pull the toes towards the chin, reaching the chest forward on that half split. Maybe the hands stay more forward as you get deeper into the posture and we warm up the back of the legs and the hips. And the next time we're in that halfway split, I want you to hang out there. And then very active. Find that point where the hands can be firm. Lift the chest up a little bit higher than you might normally. And then press the hips backwards, square to the back of the mat. Press them back. Pull the right toes towards the chin. Feel the right heel press into the mat just a little bit. And then if you still have room, you can drop the hands more, drop the elbows more, drop the chest, continuing to reach it forward. Feel all that activity here while you breathe. And a slow release. Come back to that low lunge. And however you want to get to the other side, maybe it's just dropping the leg back, kind of settling through a tabletop position. Or maybe you're going through a big Vinyasa flow. But land with that left leg at the front of your mat for a low lunge on the other side. Again, starting nice and passive, hips drop down, chest is reaching upwards just a little bit. Notice where you feel the sensation. Start to make it more active. Draw the chest forward, lift the chin up, press the hips down. Nice and active here. Let all that tension go. And then back and forth, slow and steady between our half splits and our low lunge. Explore toe foot flexed and foot pointed. Explore keeping the hands out in front or walking them back and forth. And as you get comfortable with the sensations that are coming up in the body, start to make both ends, low lunge and half split, as active as you can. Next time you're in that half split, let's hang out there, lifting the chest maybe a little higher than you would. Feel the hips press backwards, squaring to the back of the mat. Pull the toes towards the chin. Press the front heel into the ground. Lift the chest forward. And then if you got that space, you can slowly bend in the elbows. Drop the chest towards the front leg. Feel all that activity firing up through the body. And relax. Back into low lunge, back to a tabletop position. Kind of take a little bit of movement here. Maybe rotate the hips a little bit in space. Don't lose your microphone. And then we're going to come back to our downward dog position. And from here, I want you to try to keep the hands pressing into the ground. Lift the hips up as high as possible. And I want you to walk the feet as far forward as you can keep the palms flat on the ground. If the palms come off the ground, that's your cue to walk the feet back into that downward dog. So walking forward as far as it's comfortable, and maybe that's feet between the hands. And then walking slowly back. Two more times, forwards and backwards. On your next time forward, we're just going to bring ourselves into a nice ragdoll forward fold. This, to start, nice bend of the knees. Make a shelf to place the torso on, and then let the head release over that point. I even like to turn the palms up a little bit here just so that they can really make sure that the arms are passive. Feel the stomach pressing into the thighs. With the breath. And then finding that activity again, we're going to press the heels into the ground, lift the hips up towards the sky, as straight as possible with the legs. Maybe that means hands come to the ankles or even the shins so that the upper body can compensate, especially if we have tight hamstrings, but you're lifting the hips upward and then reach the chest forward and then start to press it down. If the hands are on the ground or on the feet, you can press the hands in towards the earth to help you lift the hips up and reach the chest forward and down. Breathe behind all the contraction in the back of the legs. Let go of all that activity. Back to that ragdoll. Nice bend in the knees. Let the arms be heavy, the head be heavy. And then as slow as possible, stack the spine up vertebra by vertebra, feeling just at the low back. The upper body is heavy, giving into that passive until you reach the point where we're activating it. All the way up. Okay. Feet close together, maybe hip width, maybe closer if it feels comfortable. Firmly into the ground. Gently relax the shoulders back. Let the hands release by the side. Just observe if there's any tension in the hips. Try to relax that tension. Let the knees be just a little buoyant, even just a micro bend in the knees to make sure they're ready to move. Let the eyes close. So like our seated position, our active portions become the spine. Use the spine to lift you upwards, letting it float away from every other part of the body. All the heavy points of the body, a mountain reaching towards the heavens, the spine reaching upwards. I'm going to start with some really slow sun salutations to start. Inhale, exhale to prayer. Inhale, reach up, pressing the hands together, press the heels into the ground. Feel the pelvis activate a little bit so you get the core involved. Looking up towards the sky, arch back. Another inhalation in the position, reaching through the fingertips, and then exhale, fold forward all the way down towards the ground. Take a full breath here. Inhale and exhale. Right leg steps back for a low lunge. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, plank position. Exhale, inhale for that plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Full breath in all of our postures. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale to cobra. Drag the chest and stomach onto the ground. Let the hips settle in. Pull the elbows back. Lift the chest up. Exhale in the posture. Try to let the low body relax. Inhale. Tuck the toes. Downward dog. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Right leg comes forward. Inhale for low lunge. Exhale to settle in. Inhale, open through the chest. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale all the way up, coming into that calf raise. Inhale at the top. We're going to take a full breath here as well, so find that balance. Exhale. Inhale, try to reach up more through the fingertips, press more through the toes. Exhale, hands to prayer position as the heels drop down. Inhale, reach up in the same fashion. We're trying to find this passive as we arch back. Exhale in the posture. Feel the core engage with the exhalation. Inhale, reach through the fingertips, press through the heels. Exhale, fold forward all the way down. Inhale. Exhale. Left leg leads, low lunge. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Plank. Exhalation. Inhale. Knees, chest, chin. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, cobra. Exhale. Inhale. Downward dog. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Left leg forward. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale all the way up to that calf raise. Full breath here. Exhale in the balance. Inhale, reach. Exhale, prayer. One breath, one movement. Let's build some heat. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, forward fold. Right leg, low lunge. Plank. Retain the breath. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Right leg, low lunge. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up for that balance. Exhale to prayer. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, forward fold. Left leg, inhale, low lunge. Retain for plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Left leg, low lunge. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, prayer. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, forward fold. Right leg, low lunge. Inhale. Plank, retain. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Right leg, low lunge. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, prayer. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, forward fold. Left leg, low lunge. Retain plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Left leg, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, prayer. All the activity now, up and back. Forward fold, exhale. Right leg, low lunge. Retain, plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Right leg, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Inhale, up. Exhale, prayer. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, forward fold. Left leg, inhale. Plank, retain. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Left leg, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands by the side, Tadasana. Take a deep breath here. Slow the breath down. Letting the chin guide you, the head becomes heavy, chin falling towards the chest. Begin to melt back into a forward fold, rounding the spine all the way down. Let the arms and head become heavy. Bending the knees as you need to. Letting go of the body at the bottom of the forward fold. Let the head become heavy in space. You can hold opposite elbow with the hands, if that helps. And then bend the knees, sit down, lay down into Shavasana for final relaxation. Our last moment of activity of the first part of our final relaxation. Bring awareness to the right leg. Inhale, lift the right leg, tense, flex, squeeze every muscle. And exhale, relax. To the left leg. Inhale, tense, squeeze, flex, tighten. Exhale, relax. The right arm, inhale, lift, squeeze, make a fist, extend the fingers, exhale, relax. Left arm, inhale, lift, squeeze the fist, extend the fingers, exhale, relax. To the buttocks, inhale, tense, squeeze, lift the hips up off the ground, exhale, relax. To the stomach, inhale, puff the stomach out, pull as much air in there as you can. Exhale, relax. To the chest and shoulders, inhale, pull the air into the chest, press the elbows into the ground, squeeze the shoulder blades together behind the back. Exhale, relax. To the face, inhale, scrunch the face up like you ate something sour, squeeze everything towards the middle. Exhale, relax. To the face again, inhale, expand, tongue towards the chin, gaze towards the forehead, expand. Exhale, relax. Make any adjustments you need to in Shavasana to be comfortable. And command the body to be still. Command the mind to be focused. And mentally draw the awareness down to the toes. Relax the toes, feet, ankles, calves, knees, thighs, and hips. Relax the lower back, upper back, stomach, and chest.
Relax fingers, hands, wrists, forearms, elbows, upper arms, and shoulders. Relax the neck, throat, tongue, jaw, ears, cheeks, nose, eyes, eyebrows, forehead, and skull. Your whole body is completely relaxed. The whole body is completely relaxed. Completely relaxed. And draw the awareness to the point between the eyebrows. Give in to the passive. Let the body be. And listen to the pulsation of the life force at the third eye. Inhale deeply into the stomach. Exhale slowly, wiggling fingers, toes, wrists, and ankles. Bring the ankles together as you reach the arms up overhead, stretching right side body, left side body. Your whole body stretch. And rolling over onto your right side, make your way up to a seated position. Keeping the eyes closed. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Begin to rub the palms together, creating warmth and heat. And then cup the eyes, feel the warmth against the eyes and the face. Again, rub the palms together, create heat, warmth, bring energy to the palms. And then to the face, gently massage the forehead, the eyebrows, the eyes, the cheeks, the scalp.
the ears, down the jaw, the neck, shoulders, down the arms, all the way to the fingertips, to the chest, the stomach, low back, the hips, down the legs, all the way to the toes. May be blessed with radiant joy, peace, prosperity, and abundant health. Om Shanti.